Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the psychological effect of money. I'm Rita and today it's all about you. The psychology of money is the study of our behavior toward money. And I mean really just the behavior, not really success, knowledge, IQ or any kind of math skills. When you are dealing with money, the reward system of our brain is stimulated. And this is a very unique kind of stimulus, identical to the one made by certain kind of drugs addictions, for instance cocaine. And when dealing with money, the brain reflects a higher risk-taking behavior. Money has a very powerful effect over personality, over decisions and even on emotions. Studies conclude that people that has less money usually have more generous behavior than others. On the other way, people that deals much more with money and have more money, they usually are much more perseverant. Money can eventually change people's motivation for better, but the behavior toward others for worse. Money brings feelings of a self-sufficient orientation, which make people feel much less dependent. Spend money in general makes people feel euphoric, but in most of the case this can be a very temporary feeling, because then come feelings of regret, of guilt and much less feelings of safety. The feelings of euphoria are the results of the release of dopamine in our brain, which is one of the feeling good chemical that we have in our brain. The relationship that we have with our money, it's a reflection of what our parents teach us and how they relate themselves with money. Usually the main feelings about not having much money are shame, anger, frustration and usually guilt. And the main problem is not having much or less money. The main problem is how we see our needs, our material needs, and how we see the approach that we are and that we have with money. So the main thing is not that we have much money, it's how we see the money that we have and how we handle it. Thinking negatively about money, it usually has the result of having a bad relationship with money, and this can be present in life forever. People that believe they can control money and that they have a different perspective of the money value and the money importance, educate themselves about money, are the ones that complain less about it and the ones that are the most successful in life in general. Money doesn't buy happiness and love, but they give us a sense of security, a sense of having a much more comfortable life and easy life, and all of this is something that we value in general in life. The key is to find peace and contentment with what we have and not really allow money to have a special power over us, and this will make that money will have a less impact in our emotions too. As we can see, money is an important topic to teach to our children. Explaining where the money comes from, the importance of having savings and spending in a much more conscious way are topics that are really important and even vital for our kids' future financial relationships. helping our children to organize their own piggy bank is something that maybe we can start with. For each age, there are certain procedures that you can have in order for you to be sure that your child is not being too much confused about money and really understanding all these values and all these informations. So start with children from 3 to 5 years old, and in this phase it's important to teach them concepts about saving, spending, earning and giving. And you of course can use games, board games. There are certain board games about all of these topics, and you can play these games with your kids. You can read books, you can listen to stories together. So there are innumerous playful ways of teaching this kind of information and this kind of notions. From 6 to 10 years old, it's important that we teach our kids notions of the difference between goods and services, needs and wants, short and long-term goals and savings. And for that you can use daily life experiences. Go to the shopping with your kid, make him understand the power of money, and make them even do the first transactions with real money and in real situations. From 11 to 13, try to encourage your child to learn about credit, debts, interests, and work on them on their allowance. You can play other kind of board games a little bit more for this kind of age, like for instance Monopoly and other board games that are a little bit more complex for this age. And in this case it is important to give all these notions, because these are the phase that they are transition to teenager times. So this is important for them to understand how they can eventually one day be able to manage their own money. From 13 to 15, teach your teenager about work, banking, investments. Talk to your kid about it, how all of these things work, and encourage them to the first savings. For instance, if you want something like a new console, a new game, a new bicycle, something that your child wants, encourage to make some savings, have some ways of saving their own money, even if it's the allowance or any other form. And this is important for them to start to understand that the money that they can get, they can save for something that they really want. And this is an important issue. This is a positive way of looking to money, and this will help in your child's future too. From 15 until 18, this is the time that we parents have to show the real world and the real life to our children. And this is the time to teach about debts, credits, taxes, using our own finances to explain all of these concepts, and listen to our teens' doubts in order for together could really talk about it. And sometimes these doubts are really complex. You don't need to know everything, so it's important that you can read a book together about it if this is something that you want and need, or to watch a documentary about it, watch a movie, something that really gives you some idea and give an idea of your teenager of all of this financial world. In general, teaching a preschool to have a piggy bank, show them that things cost money. It is always a way of teaching to avoid the impulse buying, and give some money for exchange for some activities during your child development is also something that can give your child a notion of money and what is its value. For teens, it's important to teach them to be happy with what they have, but also to encourage them to save for things that they can eventually have in the near future. Teaching to be reasonable spenders, and eventually to allow them to have a bank account with their own credit card or debit card. It is all important for them to understand how all of this financial world worked. And so that's all for today, guys. I hope these tips will be valuable for your teenagers or for your children, and I hope you subscribe, give a thumbs up, share with a friend, comment if you want, and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye!